Well, that was fun. We'll break down 15 goals allowed between the Sharks and the Barracuda as Timo Meier returns and why Jack Studnicka is most likely the next guy getting called up from the Cuda right now here on Teal Town After Dark. We can't even say it's good evening, just evening. Or for those of you on the East Coast celebrating this win, it's Tuesday night, February 27th, 2024. The San Jose Sharks lose, annihilated, embarrassed, destroyed by the New Jersey Devils 7-2. We welcome you to this edition of Teal Town After Dark. This is your live interactive Sharks postgame. We do this after every game. Why? Because we like to torture ourselves. So if you want to be part of the show, chat with us and fellow Sharks fans all over the world and in Sharks territory on the YouTube page or the app. Follow us on the social, if any of them still exist anymore, and find everything at tealtownusa.com. If you want to support the pod, you can also do that on Venmo at tealtownusa or hit us up in the super chat below. We wish you all the best in this one, and I wish all the best to Ian Reid trying to explain these two games that just played out. Hi, bud.
Hi. Yeah, those on the East Coast, it's actually Wednesday morning at this point.
Okay. Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, who gives a shit at this point?
Oh, fuck, I don't. I mean, fuck, what do you say? What do you even say at this point? It's so hard, right? Because it's just like everyone's like, I got Big Bird who's super mad in the chat, but like, I don't know what to even say. Like, there's nothing good to say. Like, there's no positive spin I can give you on what happened on the two games that I just watched. Two games at the same time that I just watched. Hours of my life that I will never have back. I don't know what to tell you. Like, there's no positive spin here. This is just, it's bad. It's bad, bad, bad. And when the Sharks do bad, it's good way. Like, this was a rough night of hockey.
Yeah. It's worse than icing on the power play, which that's never good, but I mean, just like, oh boy.
I don't know what to say. Like, I mean, if you want to rant, but what do you rant about? I mean, this is a Sharks team that is missing Couture and Hurdle, so I think it's, been pretty defanged defensively. You've got some other guys that are obviously NHL players, but it's a big loss, and I don't know how to be like, I should I be mad? I mean, I guess I could be mad. I mean, the Sharks didn't look overly interested in the game tonight. I think as far as this goes, like, this is probably the most uninterested I've seen them in a game in a while. They're kind of just resigned to be whatever. But and then you go down to the Barracuda. Barracuda, same thing. Barracuda missing Gushkin, missing Bordeleau, missing Mukamadulin, and now Mackenzie Blackwood goes down to make everything fucking great, because now, everyone's talking about, oh, well, some teams need a goalie, maybe, an expiring Kaapo Kakkonen. Well, that's fucking out of the fucking options now, because I can't see them moving Kakkonen if Blackwood's out for any significant period of time. Mm-hmm. And what's going to happen now, I guess we're bringing Magnus Krona back up, which I think has been the best of the Barracuda goalies. But I mean, that's not great for him, I don't think. I don't think he has as good as I think Magnus Krona has been, not tonight, unfortunately. But again, the Barracuda, looked just about as interested as the Sharks did in this game. So I guess like father, like son. So I guess Magnus Krona comes back up. And then, Georgi Romanov, who started tonight's game and got pulled after the first period. Not really. I don't think he was good, but I don't think he was terrible either. I just don't think the whole team in front of him looked very good. And I think it was John McCarthy making a goalie change to try and spur the team on, try and change the momentum a little bit. And it worked for a couple of goals. Jack Studnicka comes up, gets a couple of goals. I don't know why we're talking more about the Barracuda game than the Sharks game at this point. People are going to stop like watching en masse. And then it kind of just went downhill, kind of the same story, different story, obviously, in the NHL game. Sharks get up quick, and then that's it.
Yeah. Fagimo with the hat trick for Ontario in this 8-2 route where John McCarthy decided to pull the goaltender down 6-2 with 10 minutes to go.
Get Ruben's comment so we can get this out of the way.
Oh, he's trying to light a fire with AJ in the chat, I would think.
You're poking the wrong bear, man. Yeah, like I don't really give a shit about this. I think AJ's trying to make this a thing as much as he's saying he doesn't want to make this a thing. I feel like he's trying to make this a thing so that he can be like, he's like creating a monster so he can kill it, I guess. I don't know. I mean, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate the donation, but you're barking up the wrong tree.
Yep. Good to see you,
this team is bad.
Ruben. Good to see you, Ruben. Thank you for that. I mean, it's just, it's tough.
It sucks, right? Because I want to tell you guys like, oh, this is, this is bad. But, look at the trade deadline. I don't think the trade deadline is going to be that great for the Sharks. I look up and down this roster and I look at like some of the players that people like might want because GMs do weird things sometimes. They make a lot of money in some cases, right?
Right.
I think your best trade trip was probably one of your goalies. That goes out the window now.
Yeah, that's out the window.
And as I say, good trade trip, that's acknowledging that goalies generally go for nothing at the trade deadline, unless you're getting like a bona fide superstar. Like I think the best goalie trade that happened was when Marc-Andre Fleury got traded at the deadline. Like that was a decent return, but it's Marc-Andre Fleury. He's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
You got Fleury, you got Markstrom. If the Flames actually falter out a little bit,
yeah.
I mean, granted, up until recently, the goaltending has been phenomenal, and I don't think you can blame completely everything on the goaltending tonight because it's just a lot of screens. The Mercer goal. I know we're going out of order, but whatever. But the Mercer goal.
Breaking down every Devil goal here, like that's.
Well, I mean, we can because there were so many issues. Less of which we have a sponsor tonight.
Do we?
Yes, it's Pepperidge Farm and their apple turnovers. Because what sweeter way to celebrate a Sharks loss with a bunch of turnovers with some turnovers?
Wow. No free ads.
Oh, well, maybe one, but
maybe one. Yes, thanks, Jerry in the chat too. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
These two of us guys for consideration. Yeah, I mean, obviously, look at this is why we do this.
This is kind of a therapy session of sorts.
I guess so.
I mean, that's how I put it out on the socials.
It's gonna be a lot of. It's gonna be a lot of no, like, I wish I had answers. I wish I had intelligent things to say. I don't have. I mean, some people will tell you I don't have intelligence to say any show, but like even tonight I'm just gonna say some dumb shit, I think, and it's gonna be fine.
Well, since we already recapped the Barracuda game, congrats to Ontario. You won 8-2. Wow, at least the Sharks were a little bit better tonight.
Yeah, same story there though, right? Like and I'm not trying to make excuses here for the Barracuda, right? Like obviously, I thought they'd played some of their best hockey, missing some of their best players. Tonight wasn't that night. It's kind of like you look at their schedule and it's a lot of ouch. I think their next game's against Coachella, who generally has had their way with the Barracuda. So after a good stretch of hockey for the Barracuda, I think they've lost their last 3 in a row. It's probably going to be 4 when they place Coachella. Their season was over in November, kind of like the Sharks, but yeah, it sucks. But I think, injuries are going to be a factor there. And as as you know, at least the Sharks have kind of had other guys get healthy, so that the Barracuda haven't really been rated with Hurdle and Couture going out, because they just have so many guys that are, you know, around getting healthy, able to kind of fill those roles on the team without actually having to call anyone up. But they're going to lose their best goalie, and that's going to suck for them, depending on obviously how long Blackwood's out. Yeah, it sucks.
Right. And you're going in with Kakinen, who's got to come back from this one. Yeah.
I mean, Kakinen, to his credit, I think has bounced back from, like, again, the goaltending hasn't been the issue for the Sharks this year. I think the goaltending has been as close to a strength as it could possibly be. I mean, if you're looking for strengths, there's not a lot, but I think I would point to goaltending as a strength. I think, but again, you know, like, has it been good enough that, you know, someone's gonna, if Blackwood's not seriously hurt, is someone gonna, you know, give you the farm for Kaapo Kakinen or Mackenzie Blackwood? Maybe, who knows?
Yeah.
You know, at this point, like,
no, it's the interesting situation here. And you talk about trade moves, you know, now all of a sudden it's Granlund getting the talk, you know. Apparently Ferraro isn't getting shopped around. Mike Hoffman was like kind of the big piece to flip at the deadline, and he played.
Makes $4.5 million
and had the smallest ice time of any Shark tonight at 7:55.
Yeah,
he had one shot on goal tonight. Meanwhile, Justin Bailey, who had 1 second more, had one of the two Sharks goals, and it's just insane.
Yeah,
but they started off good. Let's give them credit for that. They started off good early on. You know, Nico Sturm right after, you know, Blackwood went out with an injury, would get them going. A nice pass from Barabanov for his fourth of the season. It went off his skate, no distinct kicking motion, and, you know, all right, things look promising. You know, so there's that. But
I mean, the Devils, like, the Devils are a fascinating team, right? Because obviously things have not gone the way the Devils thought they were this season.
Right.
Is probably the biggest understatement that we've ever said on this show. You know, the Devils, they have to get into a position where their GM has to want to buy. Right. Like, they have to prove to their GM at this point that they're, you know, that yes, they've had a shitty season, but they can throw it together at the right time. I think injuries have definitely been an issue in New Jersey as well. They've lost Jack Hughes for multiple stretches, as my fantasy team knows very well. You know, so you look at the Devils. I mean, they need a goalie, in my opinion. Now, you know, Nico Dawes, who I think has had a pretty meh season so far, he was okay tonight, but he didn't really have to be great because the Sharks didn't really pressure him a lot.
The Sharks didn't want to be great either, so.
No, exactly. You know, so I think they're a team that probably needs a goalie. I think if they're going to do anything in the playoffs, they still have to get in, obviously, but I think, you know, they're trying. I'll give them credit. Like, they've definitely come on in the later stretches of the season, trying to get things going. I mean, things haven't gone great for them, obviously, but I mean, you look at this team, like, they're out, but they're not. I don't think they're unreachable. Like, I don't think Tampa's unreachable. They could still get back in this, but I don't know, man. Like, it's tough, right? Because you're the Devils, you went all in. You traded for Timo Meier, you signed Timo Meier. I think Timo Meier has obviously had a season to forget in Tampa, but in
New Jersey.
In New Jersey. But I think Timo Meier is a good player. I don't think this is the Timo Meier that is going to be forever. I think this is a season he probably would like to forget. But I mean, I like Timo Meier still as a player. I think that the Sharks obviously traded him. You know, they traded him. It was probably the right play at the time. Like, obviously he's a younger guy, but by the time, you know, but you needed help to start bringing in assets now. And I think so far, I mean, there's it's not, I don't think it's been, there's parts of this trade that I don't like, but I think so far it's been a net positive for the Sharks, that trade.
Yeah.
I think I think they've made out decently thus far. I mean, time will tell. It's hard to say, right now, oh, did they win the trade? I mean, we'll still need more time for that to kind of pan out. But I think so far it looks good.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice, and you hoping that the best part's having him in San Jose yet with Quentin Musty, who's been lights out phenomenal for the Sudbury. I almost said Blueberry Bulldogs for the Sudbury Wolves. So it's just you hope for things to come. You heard that it came out that the Sharks prospect pool is at number 4, which is nice to see coming into things. But
number 4 says who?
I believe it was The Athletic.
I have questions. Okay, but sure.
At least hoping so. That's the big key issue there. So, the thing is that in reality, you hope that you get some more of these kids to come up, especially at the deadline. But really,
yeah, but they're not going to move. Hurt.
Right,
they have to not be hurt, right? Like,
and that's
look
the
at the
big
Barracuda
thing.
Injury list. Like, who's hurt? Mukamadulin, Gushkin, Robbins, Bordelot. Like all of like the guys that you would kind of be like, oh, who should we, who's going to get a call up at the trade deadline? I mean, right now it's going to be Nathan Todd
or Jack Studnicka. I mean, come on.
Studnicka.
And if they're tall, then all is well. I can't believe that comment online tonight. That was freaking ridiculous. But I digress. Scott Wheeler from The Athletic ranked the Sharks 4th best prospect pool.
Okay. I mean, look, and to be fair, I am not as plugged into prospects as I used to be. So maybe they are. I'd like to read the article if I'll have to go read the article at some point. I'll find someone to put in a Word document for me. I mean, maybe I would see it. I think in fairness that I think right now it's easy to be down on everything, and maybe I'm a little down on everything because I there's players that I definitely like in the Sharks prospect pool, but I look at this as the beginning, where I don't even look at this as the middle. So, but again, who am I to say that the Sharks don't have the 4th prospect? Well, I don't know who they're compared to, and I'd probably be just kind of talking out my ass, which I do occasionally.
All right. I mean, not always, but sometimes we have to.
Yeah, like there's players in the pool that I definitely like, but I have questions.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people have questions about the pool and the development of that pool as it stands right now. After New Jersey would score 3 in the second, they would go on to score 4 in the third. It was broken up by Justin Bailey just throwing the puck on net. I mean, it's amazing what happens when you just throw the puck on the net, and good things can happen. Don't have to be afraid to shoot the puck. Quite unlike New Jersey's first power play of the night, where they think they had 8-9 shots on goal. Take note, Sharks. Whenever you do get a freaking power play, because we know that doesn't happen all the time.
Yeah.
But Justin Bailey gets that in there to soften the blow, put a little Band-Aid on the big old wound. After Nico Hischier has a 4-point night, Timo Meier gets a pair of assists. Hell, Chris Tierney got an assist tonight on this one.
Cobra.
Yeah. The Cobra returns to the tank. Yes.
That was the big story tonight, right?
Yes, the return of Chris Tierney to the tank, rocking that good old number 11 we are so familiar in seeing. So that was it. 7-2, the final. Devils over Sharks. Let's get to the locker room comments because these should be a little spicy, especially after that timeout, making it 7-1. From Nico Sturm, this happened against Nashville and Columbus too. We're forcing things that aren't there. If we were patient, we would have gotten more chances. We were trying to make plays that aren't there. Yeah, that's regardless of the score. We want the other team to say we had to work hard, and tonight it was too easy. We didn't stick to our plan at all. You guys had a plan. People are watching from upstairs, and they are seeing you make dumb plays regarding the trade deadline from Nico Sturm.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, look, if you're a guy who wants to get the hell out of here, and you look at hockey player only gets so many chances to win the Stanley Cup, right? Some careers are longer than others, obviously, but some guys they have an incredibly small window because not everyone gets to play a full 20 years in the NHL. So if you're a guy, especially a guy who's got way more years behind you than ahead of you, time's running out. And if you're not a guy who, if you're a guy that's not going to get signed by a contender and you kind of have to hope that you sign on a crap team and make yourself look good enough by the deadline so that a team, maybe that wouldn't have signed you as a free agent in the summer, but, says, hey, maybe we could use that guy in this role. Right. And then, and then they make a trade for you. But I mean, like when you look at a night like tonight, and I look at, again, I've said this on multiple shows now heading up to the trade deadline. I don't think the Sharks have a lot of real appealing things to give other teams. Maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe Mike Greer will have a master class and we'll watch, 7 guys go out the door. But I don't see it right now. Like I don't see who people are really would be interested in. Obviously, there's a lot of speculation about possible guys that may or may not be in play, but I look at this team and maybe I'm too close to it, right? Maybe I'm just pissed off because I watched 2 really horrible fucking hockey games.
Yep.
That, so I'm just kind of pissy about everything right now. Maybe I'm too close to it, but I look at this team and I don't see a lot of pieces that I think make a ton of sense for other teams, but NHL GMs can surprise me.
Indeed, but considering how rough it's been for the Sharks, yes, Anthony Duclair has turned it up a little bit.
Yeah, sure. Maybe
last
someone
few
takes
games.
a flyer on Anthony Duclair. I mean, would I be shocked if the Sharks make moves? No, of course not. Like, obviously, I think that someone's probably going to go out. A guy like Anthony Duclair, $3 million makes a ton of sense, right? Especially if you use that last retention spot and, maybe someone takes a flyer on Anthony Duclair. Sure. It could happen, but I don't think that that GMs are looking at this team and salivating over who they're going to pry out of it.
No.
That was last year.
No. And that's the thing, it's there isn't much. I think they were hoping it could be a lot, but at this point, I mean, are you lucky to get 6th and 7th round picks for some of these guys if they are willing to be let go? I mean, I can't see it. I mean, Barabanov was one that was heavily talked about. I know there were people in Vancouver that were asking me about, what about Barabanov? What can he bring? He got his first point in 8 games. I mean, yeah, and one of them he was scratched in. So, it's tough to appreciate that. Mm-hmm. So, continue on with the quotes. We give up a goal, but we keep pressing. Then we give up more. It's tough because we know these things, but we don't learn from them. Yeah, that's been the thing all year, Nico, on there. David Quinn had this to say. We're not sure on Blackwood yet, other than lower body. We'll know more tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, so hopefully good news on that front. I think, like I said, the last thing the Sharks really need at this point is for Mackenzie Blackwood to be out for any period of time, because then obviously, I mean, I guess you could trade Kakkonen and then, and then really have things be, awful. But I don't think that you want to have starting goalie Magnus Corona on a team that's already, was missing. Like, look at the names. Some of the names are missing Vlasic, Couture, Hurdle. Like, do you really want to throw Magnus Corona to the Wolves now and just have him be like the guy? Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And Quinn's saying it's too early to know how long Blackwood could be out for, which makes me concerned that it is more than just a day-to-day issue.
Sure. I mean, look at lower body injury. I mean, that's scary for a goalie, right? Because there's so much, the goaltending puts so much stress on your lower body. It could be a hip, could be a knee, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, there's so much stress that position puts on the lower body. And it's amazing that, a guy like Marc-Andre Fleury, like, some of these guys that can play in the NHL into their 40s, like, never the greatest goalie, but like a Craig Anderson played till he was like 41 or something. Like, that's batshit crazy to me, that their body, again, like Craig Anderson, Marc-Andre Fleury, one of these things is not like the other, but I give a lot of credit to guys that can play, long career, especially in net, because a lot of guys trail off and have a hard time, right? I don't know, man. I agree. Corona be great for the Sharks. Yes, great for the tank, but I don't think great for his confidence or great for his development.
Yeah. And that's
great for the tank. Yeah, 100%. But
sure. Sure. But at this point, are you having to second guess your goaltending prospects?
No. I mean, look at. I don't think they're not like blue chip goaltending prospects to begin with.
True.
But again, like, goalies are kind of fucking voodoo. Look at, I'm concerned about Mäkiniemi, obviously. The current word on the street is illness, but again, and I hope it's not serious, because he hasn't played in like, if he's been sick for a long time at this point. So I'm kind of hoping it's nothing serious. Like, I don't want to come on here and be like, oh, he's sick, boo-hoo. And then, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to come on here and be like, oh, he's sick and like whatever. The Sharks are lying to us. I mean, maybe it's an illness. Maybe it's serious. I mean, obviously I don't want that, but, Mäkiniemi has missed a lot of time since coming over. There's concerns there. Right. Georgi Romanov, Magnus Corona, these are first-year pros, man. They're first-year pros. Let them, I think, I think they've been fine they've been fine, even good in stretches. But there's growing pains there.
Right.
But again, right, like, these aren't blue chip goaltending prospects. They're not your Jesper Wallsteds, right? They're not your Dustin Wolfs. Like, to put those kind of expectations on these guys is unfair. They're not that, right? Like, I don't know if there's an NHL goalie between the three of them, but they've been fine in stretches.
Right. They've had moments where they've shined.
They've had moments where they've shined. I don't want to again, it's easy to come on after games like this and just kind of just shit on everything, and everything's awful, and Eklund's a bust, and blah, 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 blah. But I mean, I think you just have to try and keep it real. And, these guys aren't blue chip goalie prospects, but we've seen goalies come out of fucking nowhere and do great. So who knows?
He just stepped off his soapbox for a moment there. Continuing on with what Quinn said, we just have to stop passing the puck to the other team. Our possession tonight was horrible. We just kept giving the puck over and over. The whole second period was just the same old bullshit. That was what he said, not me.
I mean, he's not wrong.
He's not wrong, but
I don't know what you say. Like, I don't know what Quinn's supposed to say after a game like that. Like,
right.
I don't know, man. Like, I mean, you call a timeout to be like, I don't know, like, hey, you guys want to stop sucking now? I don't know. Like,
and that's kind of what they were some people were looking to lip read on that, and I guess Prashelka was saying, your choice at the end is what it was. So
Yeah.
it seems like there was some passion to get the guys going, and yeah, it resulted in a goal after that. After the speech or rant or whatever you want to call it during the timeout, they did outscore the Devils 1-0. If you want to look for any possible minute, tiniest positive outcome, but it's tough to have one when you lose 7-2. It makes it worse when your farm team loses 8-2.
Yeah, I mean, look at the Barracuda are bad. They should feel bad. The Barracuda were not a good team at full strength. They are definitely not a good team at a quarter strength. It is what it is. I mean, I feel like I know someone's probably going to do like, why is Ian making excuses for the Barracuda? Well, then they're not a great team to begin with. They're not a great team at full strength.
Yeah, well, I mean,
like that's just the reality of it. I don't think I'm defending them. I just think they're where they are for a reason. Yeah, I don't know. It sucks. It's a shitty night. It's a shitty night with shitty hockey.
It's a tough one. Even this video prove it so bad. Yeah, so bad. I know, David. I know. My bad. So yeah, that kind of puts a bow on everything here for this. Hey, they get Anaheim on Thursday. That should be interesting.
Well, I mean, good. Hopefully Anaheim can win.
Yes, and it'll be us two breaking that one down, following that one. So we appreciate your time and enjoyment, and hopefully this calms down the blood pressure a little bit after the Sharks lose 7-2 over the New Jersey Devils.
Yeah, it sucks. Like, it sucks, right? I think, look at, again, like, we know what we want this season, right? Like, obviously, losses are good. Like, I don't want to, like, we're not changing the narrative here. Losses are good, but, man, at least be somewhat competent to watch. And I think this is the hard one. What sucks about tonight is that this game wasn't a good game to watch. That's the problem.
Right.
Like, I don't care about losses. Losses are fucking fantastic at this point. Look at I think they have let's take a look at the standings here quick. Chicago's played 2 less games than the Sharks, or 2 more games than the Sharks have. Sorry, 2 more games rather, and they're tied at 35 points. So the Sharks need to catch up with losses. They don't want to get more points because they've got two games in hand on the Blackhawks. Like, losses are great, but man, all I want from this team, and we didn't get it tonight from either fucking team, is just make it somewhat interesting to watch.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I want.
Make it competitive and then lose. Like the Columbus game. Yeah. The Columbus game is probably the most, I think, of enjoyable losses there, where they play competitive, they played hard. Yes, they lost in the end. Not like this, because this kind of looks at like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, I mean, I was waiting for. I thought this was going to be another 10 spot. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, it was getting there. But I mean, 3-1 after 2 periods, and then next thing you know, it's 5-1 before you got your leftover Thin Mints from the fridge with the milk. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, Aaron Jackson in chat, and I'm not trying to extend the show here.
You're fine.
He's like, is Quinn was coaching a better team, but he get fired by now? Probably. I mean, like, there's no expectations for this team. And the one thing I will say, like, I'm not a huge David Quinn guy, but I don't want to be the Buffalo Sabres. I know people don't like Quinn, and people aren't going to like this. They're going to get mad at me, but I don't want the prospects to have as many different coaches as years in the league either.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, like, again, I know that's going to make people mad at me, and they're going to be like, no, Ian Quinn's awfully has to go right now. But and then what? And then they hire some other dude. And then if this is happening next year, which I think it will. That's the worst part of this, is that I don't, again, like I said earlier, right? Like the rebuild just started. I don't think it's, I think we have at least one more season of this before we get any traction in the other direction.
No.
Right? We get at least one more season. At least one more season of this. Look at Chicago. Chicago got probably the best player that's going to be drafted in the last, and probably he'll probably go down as the best player drafted in maybe a 10-year span.
Yeah.
And there's still shit this year. And they so the Sharks, they got Will Smith last year, but Will Smith's not even on this fucking team yet. Like there's more pain coming. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. There is more pain coming.
Would you want Will Smith anywhere near this team next season?
Oh no, I'll keep leaving college. I'm not advocating for Will Smith to be on this team right now. I'm just saying, like, they have Connor Bedard. They have the best player who's probably going to be drafted in a span of 10-ish years, and they're still in pain mode. And that's why I'm saying the Sharks are going to be, it is what it is.
But that's my whole thing, is that, people are going to be looking at it, it's like, it's just going to be another thing after another, where you see Carlson is with Anaheim already playing. Bedard obviously already is. Fantilli's been injured for Columbus, but he's playing. But, Will Smith isn't with the team, which I think is fine.
It's fine. I have no, like, I wasn't advocating for Will Smith to be on this team this year, even next year. If he wants to stay in college, I really don't care. I'm just saying that the team, like, my point is that the teams that are playing with these players, like, they just got these players and there's still pain. So even if you get, let's say that the Sharks get first overall and they draft Macklin Celebrini, I don't think next year is magically better. That's my point.
Right.
No, Ricky saying to the CUDA, fine, bring him to the CUDA. My point was that just because you get the prize next year, and you get Macklin Celebrini, it doesn't magically make things better. There's still going to be pain. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and there's going to be a lot of pain.
There's going to be a lot of pain. There's going to be at least another season as shit as this one. That's my promise to you. Come back and watch us next year. What are we doing?
Please, because we and if you want to torture yourself, make sure you hit that subscribe button down. No, I'm kidding. If you want to recover from being tortured by the Sharks, hit that subscribe button down below. So with that, in case you missed anything, or do you want to watch this again, check us out on tealtownusa.com or your favorite podcatcher. All of them listed down there. Apple, Google, which is going away, YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, you name it, you love it. Always available at tealtownusa.com. If you're watching us on the replay, please leave a comment down below on what you thought of tonight's game or games and how badly this can get. But Ian, I think we can call it a night here. Your final thoughts. I know Ricky saying McKenna in 2026, baby. I'm still tanking.
Yeah, look, I don't know, man. Tonight sucked. There's no way around it. There's no sugarcoating it. I mean, it was a shit night of Sharks organizational hockey. And if you made it through this show, because I don't think this show is ever truly on the rails, kudos to you. We always appreciate you guys being here. I love chatting with you guys in the chat, on the Twitter machine. I love talking to you guys on the Twitter machine too, even if I take things personally for no reason. I love you anyway. Thanks, guys.
He's doing better, folks. All right. He's at Ian Blogs Hockey on the Twitter machine. I'm at PuckGuy14. We will be back with you following Sharks and Ducks on Thursday night. That is a 7:30 face-off. So until then, thanks for watching. Keep it real. Keep it teal. Keep it real teal. Have a good night, everyone.